Hello, welcome. Happy Friday, Sretan Petak. I am Sarah of Expat in Croatia, and this is 5 Question Friday. Every Friday at 5 o'clock Croatia time, we answer 5 questions about Croatia from people who have sent them in on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, expatinCroatia.com, YouTube, our consulting sessions, and people who scream them through a walkie-talkie. So, it's starting to sink in now that that's like the second to last time I'm ever going to say that. And it's a little weird. I won't lie. So yeah, this is episode 199. And so next Friday is 200, and that will be the last episode that we will do. Where will you hold your wedding? How did we get there? Hi from Turkey. Hey, Jeff. Yeah, I love Croatia too. I'm happy to be back. Where would you hold a wedding? Where would I hold a wedding? On an island. I would hold a wedding on an island, because the reason I feel that way is when you get on a ferry, it's just like every care you have in the world just disappears, and you just feel lighter, and you're in another world, and it's just, that's where I would do it. So yeah, that's what I would say, Brittany. Yeah, that's where I would do it. So, oh, you do weddings. Cool. Yeah, that's where I would do it, is definitely on an island. I don't know which island I would do it on in particular. Really, I think any of them would be awesome, but yeah, I'd say an island for sure. Okay, so what do we got today? Okay, so the 200th episode, we have, I think, just like a couple spots left for the party next Friday. So if you've been thinking about it and you want to join us, you can go to expatinCroatia.com/RSVP and you can take one of those final spots. We've been working this week on getting all the party details together and talking about the food and talking about the drinks and the decorations and everything. So it's really exciting. Although I did have a dream last night that everything went wrong, which I think is a pretty natural thing. I'm just so excited. You know, the whole team's kind of working on the party, and so many people are going to be there. 3 of the lawyers we work with are going to be there as well, which is really cool. So yeah, it's going to be a really fun time. So, and it's been such a joy to kind of look through the RSVP list, and I recognize a lot of the names from people who've been following us here on Instagram for a really long time. So I'm so glad I'll get to meet a lot of you in person. So I'm still in Texas. I go back to Croatia tomorrow, and then we'll begin the last week of preparations for the party next Friday. So that's really all I've got for you today. But let me just kind of tell you what it is we're doing. This sounds weird today. I'm trying to find a better place that I can. Let me try. Is that better? Well, maybe that's better. Oh, I like that way better. What do you guys think? That like nice little street coming through. Okay. All right. So because this is the last like traditional episode that we're doing, next Friday is going to be very different. If you have any questions you would like asked, this is your opportunity. So I do have 5 questions, but if you have a question that's on your mind and you want to get it answered, go ahead and drop it down in the chat and I'll answer it in this episode. Hi Yuba. Hi. Happy Friday to you. Real Nero, Catagram, Miss B, Jen, Faith, Joel. Hi. So glad you're all here. Okay. So let's go ahead and get started. So this first question comes from Amanda on the 5 Question Friday forum. 20 years ago, expats had to establish a d.o.o, which is an LLC, in order to buy their residential property. Foreigners are now able to own property in their own name. What is the procedure and cost of selling the residential property back to yourself as an individual and dissolving the d.o.o? So, a company can sell a property, a residential property, to an individual very simply. There's no difference in that procedure than an individual selling a property to an individual. So there's no difference there. You must keep in mind that non-EU citizens can only buy property based on reciprocity. So something that Amanda needs to keep in mind is she needs to make sure that wherever she is from, whatever her citizenship is, that country or state, if it's the US, province, if it's Canada, district, if it's Bosnia and Herzegovina, for example, that it has a reciprocity agreement with Croatia so that she can actually own residential property. So that's really important. Once the property is sold, liquidation of the LLC is actually quite easy. When I first got to Croatia and opened up my first company, liquidation could take like years. But now it can only take 2 to 3 months, and it's pretty affordable. The cost only ranges from 200 to 350 euros. There's a simple liquidation procedure and there's a more complex liquidation procedure. So if she only has the company for the ownership of this property, then my guess is she can do this simple procedure, which only takes a couple of months and 200 euros. Now, the one other thing to keep in mind is there are tax implications for this type of sale, so it's important that you consult with a really good tax advisor or accountant on the sale before you do it, to make sure you go about everything the right way, you're taking everything into consideration, you're paying all the taxes that you need to pay. So if you would like an introduction to a vetted tax advisor or accountant, contact us and we can put you in touch with one. Okay, so what do I have for you today? So I'm going to list off some things that we can provide you. If you are on Instagram, send us a DM, or you can drop a comment on the replay. If you're on YouTube, you can find all of this down in the description. Everybody else, drop a comment on any other social platform and we will get these guides over to you. So one is the latest list of the reciprocity agreements. We used to have this on the site, but it's something that changes often. So we just link to the government's website. So we have that list, and it's in English. So it's in English, it's in alphabetical order. It's very easy to find your country. We have a guide on how to buy residential property in Croatia as a non-EU citizen. We have how to close a d.o.o. And also we have a page where you can directly request that introduction to an accountant or tax advisor. So all of that stuff we can get you. Just contact us. We've got some focus issues happening today. Okay, so the next question comes from Kathy here on Instagram. I have a question regarding the oath for citizenship. Do you have to memorize it, or are you allowed to read it from a paper in hand? So you do not have to memorize it. Whether or not they will let you read from a paper or if they will say it to you and then you have to repeat it back is going to depend on the consulate or the police if you're doing that oath in Croatia. However, you can always memorize it if you choose. So I thought I would take this opportunity to say the oath for you today. This was something I worked on with my Croatian teacher a couple of years ago. I think that the camera is trying to focus on this beam of light from the sun, which is very specific. Okay, so yeah, I'm going to go ahead and do the oath for you today. All right. Prisežem svojom čašću da ću se kao hrvatski državljanka pridržavati Ustava i zakona te poštivati pravni poredak, kulturu i običaje u Republici Hrvatskoj. So that translates to, I swear by my honor that as a Croatian citizen, I will abide by the Constitution and the law and respect the legal order, culture, and customs in the Republic of Croatia. So what we have for you is a guide called Next Steps After Obtaining Citizenship, because there are a few different steps, things that you need to go through after you get Croatian citizenship. I think that there's a misconception that you get citizenship and they hand you a passport, and that's not how it goes. There's actually a few different steps. So you get a decision on citizenship, then you get a domovnica, which is your proof of citizenship, then you have to register your foreign birth and your marriage certificate if you are married. Then you get your Croatian birth certificate. Then you can apply for a passport and a national ID card. So there's a few different steps there, and we have guides for each of those individual processes. But the next steps after obtaining citizenship guide really kind of sums it up, like goes through each one and then links out to those different guides. It also includes the oath, so that way you can practice it. Jeff, will you put a clip of that on YouTube, but very slowly so we can use it to practice with? Yeah, actually, I did a video of the oath a year or two ago. So it was, in preparing for this question today, I was actually thinking about doing it again. So yes, I will make that happen for you guys, definitely. Okay, so our next question comes from Ahmed on the 5-question Friday form. Australian Muslim man here who became a Croatian citizen under Article 11 by descent a couple of years ago. I understand that wives of Croatian citizens are able to apply for citizenship from abroad. Would I be able to apply for citizenship for all 3 of my wives? This is a first. Only one spouse can apply for citizenship if you have a legally recognized marriage. However, it's incredibly important to understand that polygamy is a crime in Croatia. If the ministry finds out from records that you have other marriages, they will likely reject the citizenship application. So it is a big risk to make any applications for a spouse in this particular situation. So we do have a guide on how to apply for citizenship as the spouse of a Croatian. There are 2 different paths, Article 10, which is based on residence, Article 11, which is based on descent. So contact us, we'll get that over to you. Okay, so our next question, this is an anonymous question that came in over email. I parked my car, but I didn't know how the system was. Car park attendant left a paper on the window. Now I have parking payments, but I returned to my country. Is there any platform where I can pay online? So there's not like a national platform where you can pay for your parking tickets. You can always check your parking tickets in e-građani, the government services portal, but you can't pay them there. So the parking tickets are actually managed by each individual municipality, which is why you can't pay them in a more centralized system, although I hope that that happens one day. Now, the easiest way to pay the parking ticket is, this is for people who are still in Croatia, then I'm going to move to people who are outside of Croatia, is to pay the uplatnica. So the thing that was left on this person's windshield is called an uplatnica. An uplatnica is a red and white piece of paper, it's about this size, that has all the payment information so that you can pay the fine. But even when you get a bill from the electricity company, the water company, the trash company, they're all going to give you that uplatnica. Like, it's a standardized payment form, okay, which I think is actually a really great way that Croatia goes about it, because it makes it all standard. There we go. I think we're just going to be migrating as the sun moves around. So you take that and you just go to a post office or a bank or a TSAC or supermarket, and they will scan that uplatnica, and then you just pay for it in cash or card. Okay, so it's really easy. Now, if you do it within 3 days, you only have to pay 50% of the fine, which I think is pretty cool. Now, if you've already left the country, what do you do? So some cities have their own parking apps where you can pay for the ticket, like Zagreb, for example. They have ZG Park application that you can use to pay the ticket. If the municipality does not have an app, then you can always make a bank transfer directly using the IBAN bank account information that's on that uplatnica. And in cases like this, the most affordable option would be Revolut or Wise to make a transfer like this. I wouldn't do it through your bank because usually they charge like $50 to do something like that. So I would just use Revolut or Wise, and maybe they are only going to charge you like €1 or €2 to make that kind of transfer. So we do have a guide. It's an ultimate guide to driving in Croatia. So if you like that, contact us. All right, we've got some stuff going on in the comments. Let's see what we have here. Jeff, on Article 11 for spouses, I have seen conflicting things online about whether your spouse needs all the same forms as you as far as your descendants or just your citizenship docs plus the marriage license. Okay, it depends. it really depends. And I can understand why you would have conflicting information. So if you as the descendant are applying at the same time as your spouse, then you only need one set of documents on the ancestor. I mean, everyone needs to have like photocopies of everything, but you only need to have one copy. In here, look, I have to give this caveat to you because I think it's really, really important. It cannot be said enough. If you are applying abroad, you're applying through a consulate. All of the consulates have their own personalities, and all of the consulates, they sometimes make their own decisions on what is required, which is unfortunate because that's not their decision to make. It is the Ministry of the Interior who processes these applications. The consulates are through the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. So really all they're supposed to be doing is taking the application from you and forwarding on to the Ministry of the Interior. But ultimately, whichever consulate you go through, whichever individual, human that you're speaking to, they may tell you one thing and it may be different than someone else who's working there is going to tell you, or someone at a different consulate is saying. So that is probably why you're getting so much conflicting information about that, Jeff. So it's really gonna depend. If they're not applying at the same time as the descendant because the descendant has already gotten their citizenship, then it's possible that they may need to have new copies. But again, it's going to depend on the consulate. So I wish I could tell you like definitively how it's going to be, but it depends on the consulate. And I know where you're located, so my guess is you're going through LA and they have strong opinions. So, all right. Let's see who else is here. Rainbow Traveling Yogi, Allison. Oh, hi, Ivana, Lucinum, Jane. Who else? Ilyana. We do have a comment from Bayer Contreras. I'm sorry, I don't speak Spanish, so I cannot read that. Yeah, okay, all right, let's get going. So, the next question comes from Eunice on LinkedIn. Can same-sex couples who have concluded a life partnership abroad register it in Croatia, given that one spouse is a Croatian citizen? And do they both need to be present in Croatia? And after registering it, does the other non-EU partner qualify for residence? So yes, same-sex couples can register a life partnership in Croatia, and only one spouse needs to be present. Afterwards, the non-EU partner does qualify to apply for residence based on that marriage or life partnership, as long as their Croatian spouse is already living in Croatia, has a Croatian address. So yeah, absolutely. So we have a couple of guides how to register a marriage or life partnership in Croatia and how spouses of Croatians can obtain residence in Croatia. Now, I do want to attach something to this topic. So a couple of weeks ago, I got a question asking what it was like for same-sex couples in Croatia. And I shared with you kind of a reflection of the experiences of what people have shared with me over the last 13 years. And a lot of it was negative, unfortunately, though accurate. Since then, I have spoken to one of our longtime fans, and he wanted me to share something with you. So I'm going to read what he shared with me, okay? What you said was 100% accurate and true. We are not big into public affection, and quite honestly, we don't see that the heterosexual population in Croatia is very open to public displays of affection either. We usually go to events where we know people are open-minded. Both of us have had situations where we may have hit on a straight guy and the reaction is very graceful and respectful. America was very different. I had to go to a gay club to feel comfortable, and if you hit on someone straight, especially in public, they would usually have a toxic reaction. After coming to Croatia for 7 years and living here for 5, it is safe for someone being gay. Now, in my personal experience, I've known a lot of gay couples over the years, both male and female, of all different kinds of ages, living in all parts of Croatia, and they have chosen to live their lives in Croatia despite these challenges. And of course, the kind of challenges that people have, the volume of challenges that people have had, have really varied quite a lot. Some really have had no challenges at all. Some have had a lot of challenges, but despite that fact, they still have chosen to live in Croatia. So I wanted to make sure that I gave you a more kind of complete perception, both the negative and the positive, to that answer. Okay, so is that it? Is that our last question for today? I guess it is. Oh my goodness gracious, we went through that pretty quick. So what's happening next? So next week is the last episode, which I've been talking about for a number of weeks, but I want to tell you what that episode is going to look like if you are not able to join us in person. We really hope that you can join live. We have some things planned for those that are going to join live with us next Friday, and the questions are going to be very different. So the questions are going to be asked by people who attend the screening in person, the party in person, and the questions that we're going to pick are not going to be the typical bureaucracy questions. They're going to be about experiences and projections and interpretations. And also the questions aren't going to just be answered by me. They're also going to be answered by Cam, by Maria, our editor, maybe someone else on our team. We'll see. But it's really going to be a very, very different episode than what we've had these last 199 episodes, I would say. So I really hope that you'll all join us next Friday live if you can, but at a bare minimum, the replay will be up just like it usually is, so you'll be able to watch it after the fact if you can't join us at 5 o'clock Croatia time. I want to just give a shout out to everyone who's here now. Jane Norton, Kateria, that's a pretty name. Exel Weiler, Jessica, Alan, Jeff. Well, I already saw Jeff, yeah. Can't get enough of you. Paul, Paulina, Hotel Kilo, and Tensity. Ooh, that's a cool name. You're anti-PDA and Balkan, so this tracks, yeah. And I would say that that's my experience as well, for sure. I think that's generally a Balkan thing. So that's it, guys. This went really fast. I'm starting to really feel my feelings about the fact that this is all going to end next week, but yeah, I'm excited for next Friday as well, Kathy, and I'm so glad that you're going to be able to join us and you're going to come down there from Rijeka for that. We've got a question. Real person following. I like your handle. I'm from Melbourne, but currently on holiday in Zadar. We are imagining a life here. Could you share some information on experiences on children joining the school system in Croatia? Oh, at the next live. Maybe. So maybe I can do that. Actually, Cam is going to be the best person to answer that question. She has 2 kids in school. So let me go ahead and actually, let me see if I can screenshot that, because for whatever silly reason, did I get it? Yes, I got it. For some silly reason, Instagram does not save all of your comments during the live and then publishes on the replay. Like, it seems like common sense to me. I don't know why it doesn't do that. But anyways, let me put it this way, real person following. If we cannot answer it next Friday, because we can only pick 5 questions, this is not going to go away. So like 5 Question Friday is going to go away. Having a weekly live program is going to go away, but you can still get your questions answered. We're kind of evolving into something called EIC Q&A. And so you can keep submitting questions the same way that you have before. And then we will record individual videos for each question, and those will go in our feed. So I will log that for you, and we will get that answered by the right person. Okay? All right. So I think that's it, guys. So if you're just joining us, we're just about to end, but that's okay. I'm about to post the replay, and you'll be able to watch it there. Thank you so much to everyone who has been following us for so long, for these last 5 years, or 2 years, or 2 days, whatever. We're just so glad that you're here. Thank you for all of the support. This is a really, really big milestone for us. So I hope to see you next Friday, or if not, some other time that we overlap in this world. So thank you. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. Ciao, vidimo se.